One of the first things you learn in jiu-jitsu is the principle of kazushi, the art of staying balanced while destabilizing your opponent's balance. It's a core idea that's essential for mastering throws and takedowns, but comes in handy in almost any situation. Here's how to picture it. Stand up, look down at your feet, and imagine a triangle. That triangle is your personal area of balance. It's your kazushi. Being aligned with it is good. It means you're stable and you're not going anywhere. You want this triangle, this balance, to stay with you when you enter someone else's space, or if they enter yours. It takes 3 short, exact steps to get it right. If you lose it, even slightly, when you go to throw someone, you'll trip, your opponent will slip out, and you'll be slammed onto the mat instead. I met Dan during my first semester of college. We lived in the same dorm, had the same friends, and had the same amount of self-destructive 19-year-old energy between the two of us to think dating was a good idea. I liked how he distracted me from my feelings about my ex-girlfriend, how being with him slammed me with feelings of euphoria, and he liked how much attention I gave him. When he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I comforted him, made him feel less alone and more stable. When I was overwhelmed with grief at the thought of my last relationship, he took 3 certain steps into my space one November night and told me he loved me. If you want to get good at understanding how kazushi actually works, you have to pay attention to the other person's body and energy. You can't muscle someone into being thrown onto the ground or being thrown off of you if you're being pinned down. You can only guide and convince them. When someone gives you their energy, you learn to feel it and draw them in close for a brief hug that is then followed by either a hip throw or a leg sweep. Simply put, you learn to use someone else's energy against them. The excuses made sense at first. Dan often blamed his meds for making him act out, whether that was being too emotional or emotionless, so I shrugged it off. I figured things would get better. I leaned harder into him, desperate to keep things going. I spent more time and energy walking him to class and to his therapy appointments. The more I gave, the more he took. Soon the excuses began to dissolve into insults and lies. When I got upset at him for taking naps in another girl's bed, he convinced me that it was my fault, that I was jealous. When he pinned me face down onto his bunk bed and quietly breathed into my ear while his roommate sat 5 feet away, he said I deserved it and to never bring it up again. And when he finally dumped me over the phone one rainy July night, he said it was because I was abusive and not because there was someone else like I kept suggesting. 3 weeks later, he was dating the girl whose bed he had taken naps in. Kazushi is as much about disrupting the mind as it is about disrupting the body. If you can keep someone second-guessing your next move, you can distract them, ruin their concentration. It makes them doubtful, nervous even, of what you'll do next and how they'll respond. It lets you get close to their core, the most vulnerable part of the body. Done well, you can have someone on the ground in seconds. Done really well, you can leave someone glassy-eyed staring up at the popcorn ceiling of their dojo, winded and wondering where their steps went wrong.